Hi guys, welcome back to Zero TV. I'm Latak Pata, your usual host with the mist. Welcome back. So today we're going to be discussing estate planning. I have a guest. It's actually a very good friend of mine. She's a lawyer by profession. She's going to explain estate planning to us today. Welcome to the show, Bri.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I can't wait for you guys to hear what we've got to talk about today. So I just want to make sure that you guys understand why we're doing estate planning today. Is that, remember, we've been talking about investments and why investments and what to invest in. Now we need to protect those investments and build legacies for our families. How do we do that? This is what we're going to be talking about today. And as a lawyer, she will be getting into detail with that and how to protect our estates and how to build legacies for ourselves. Yeah, welcome to Strawberry. We are going to just touch a bit on what do you do as a profession. What do you do what do you do on it?
Well, I am trained as an attorney.
Yeah.
I've practiced all types of law.
Yeah.
I've worked in financial. I've worked in insurance for the most part.
Yeah.
I am currently in what you would call corporate, but also part government.
Yeah.
So I have pretty much done everything in law.
Yeah.
Estate planning is one of my very close to my heart topics.
Yeah.
Personally,
Yeah,
apart from professionally, we've had a lot of conversations about the importance of it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's me in a nutshell, without delving too much into it.
Yeah.
We have quite a bit to talk about.
Yeah.
I will try and unpack it a little bit without going too much into details, that people appreciate the general idea of why estate planning.
Important. Yeah. All right. So we're gonna get right onto it.
Yeah.
So what is an estate? So before we start planning for it, what is an estate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So colloquially, right, the word estate refers to the land that you would have typically maybe in a farm somewhere, a big house.
Yeah.
With all of the developments on it, and hence why there's estate management and so forth.
Yeah.
But legally and financially, estate of a person refers to everything that they own or everything that belongs to them. And that would include, yes, real estate, but also anything else that you consider to be of value to you. Could even be your jewelry. Could be your antiques, indeed your insurance, indeed your investments, everything really that belongs to you, your asset base. It's technically your net worth whilst you're here on earth.
Yeah.
That's what an estate is in a nutshell.
Yeah. Yep. So basically, just to explain to you guys what a net worth is, but basically your net worth is your assets minus what you're owing. So before we even calculate it, when it's calculated, and what we're going to discuss today is what has already been calculated.
Yes.
Where we've actually subtracted everything that you owe against what you own.
Yes.
Yeah, what belongs to you. Yeah?
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, so what is estate planning? Let's plan for it now. We have all this land. We have real estate. I have my Dikomo at home, Moraka, and I have all these investments that I have, with my husband, and we're here, but we have kids, as well. I have my nice jewelry. How can I plan for this estate?
Yeah. So now estate planning itself, right, refers to the steps or the actions that you put in place whilst you still can. For any eventuality that might happen.
Yeah.
And when we say eventuality, we don't just talk about death.
Yeah.
It can happen that you may be incapacitated.
Yes.
It can happen that due to an accident or illness, you are unable to make decisions for yourself.
Yeah.
So the planning, the tasks involved with making sure that you have a plan in place for what should happen to your assets, should that happen, or should I say, when that happens.
Yeah.
Because very often we forget that one of the two will happen, and it makes very little sense to work so hard and amass so much only to have no plan in place for the things that you worked for when you're not here anymore. So I always like to say that estate planning is possibly the most important financial planning that a person can possibly do
for themselves. I think so.
Because at that point, there's no comeback.
Yeah.
You can't correct anything that is to happen. And you've left it to fate. You've left it to whoever it is who may be there to make decisions for all these things that you've worked hard for, simply because you just failed to make a plan. So it's a plan, really. It's putting together tasks that should be followed in the event that you are not there anymore to make the decisions.
No, absolutely. I mean, as you're busy building, guys, as we're busy going to work every single day, and we're just building our legacies, we're busy building our investments for our children. Let's protect them. Let's plan for them, because you don't want to be in a situation where you're literally rolling on your grave. You are attending your grave. And or you are incapacitated and you're watching your estate, being whatever is happening to it, and it's not according to the way you would have liked, So let's avoid that, and we're going to talk about avoiding that today. So let's basically, planning for it means protecting it as well, isn't it?
Yes, it means having a plan, making sure that what happens in accordance to what you would have wished for, or how you would have wished to do things. So that is protection, because now you're not there to do it, and you're not there to say, not like that, like this. So yes, it's protecting in an essence.
All right. So let's talk about the steps. Let's take us through the steps now of us protecting our estates and planning our estates.
So I think possibly the most basic and possibly the most popular involves the writing of a will, right? But estate planning involves other more complicated, or just as complicated, just as important steps. And that includes, apart from will writing, trusts. Apart from trusts, making a decision on who will take care of your children or any dependents, if you have any, should you not be here anymore. It also involves you updating. People forget this one, updating and making sure that your beneficiaries with insurance policies, the bank, so forth, are updated all the time. Your pets, who will take care of your pets in the event that you're not here anymore, and how should they be taken care of? If there are any activities that you contributed towards or donated towards whilst you are here, you would like to continue doing that even when you're not here anymore, and you can make a plan for that. It involves a whole lot of things, there's a certain reason why there are certain families and should I say status quos where generations are able to make sure that wealth goes down from generation to generation. And estate planning includes making sure that happens. And usually there are very few, a very small percentage of families that are able to make sure that wealth stays within the family from generation to generation. Estate planning definitely makes sure that happens through a number of different vehicles. So you want to sit down and think about what it is that you want to achieve, because we're different, right? We're different, and we can't all want the same thing, but you have to be intentional about it, and you have to sit down and think about what it is that you want to do. After that, the next place to go is to see an attorney. Usually there are those that are seasoned in estate planning, and they will help you identify the best tool for it, whether it's a will, whether it's a trust. There's power of attorneys. They vary, and they all and it all depends on how you would like things to happen. It can happen that your will can even state that upon your death a trust is put in place. So we are going to get into trust. Yes. So what's important is for people to understand that estate planning is the steps that are put in place to make sure that things happen exactly the way you would have wished for in the event that you're not here anymore. And how do you do it? The first step, or the easiest and the most prudent, is to do it through an attorney. However, it's worth mentioning that some banks do offer And I am aware that it's not to all of that clientele, but it's worth checking with your bank if you do qualify to be assisted. I know that some legal expenses insurance companies, if you have a good legal expense insurance policy, they will cover for it to a certain extent, or limited, but they will cover for it. They will assist with certain types of estate planning. I'm aware that some life insurance policies do have that as well. So all of them will have an attorney in-house doing that, or they will offer to cover the cost of an attorney. So first point is to get good advice and then take it from there.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's actually quite very clear.
Yes.
You want to build a legacy for your family. You want your great grandkids to still benefit from your estate.
Yep.
How do you do that? Get an estate lawyer. See, how can you get an estate lawyer? Like B was explaining, some banks do offer it. Some insurance companies do offer it. Some insurance, maybe you have an insurance law, legal expenses covered. Find out if they also cover estate planning, or can get you an attorney that can help you plan with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or just get a normal estate lawyer to help you with that. Right. And I think that is actually quite comprehensive, and you explained it really well. Now let's talk about the will.
Yeah.
Now that we know what we want, we have to write it down.
Yeah.
And there's a living will, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a will that, in case you pass on. Living will. Let's
So let's just simplify things, right? Because we don't want to go too technical.
Yeah.
We want people to understand it for what it is. So what is a will? There's a legal document, right? That helps an individual put down and state in writing what will happen to their property, their assets, as well as to their children or beneficiaries in the event that they pass on.
Yeah.
Simply put, that's it. You want to make sure that you have a will and that it is registered and that there is someone who knows that you have a will and where to find it in the event that it happens. So it's very important that you would have to make sure that you decide, first of all, who will be the custodian of that will. What we call an executor, somebody that you trust very well, somebody you know that will make sure that that will is executed in the exact manner that will is done. And you also want to make sure that you've listed your beneficiaries, the people that you want to benefit from your will. Did you know that you can also list the people that you don't want to benefit from your will, just in case you know there's that one malume who you know on the day will be there.
You might as well put him in.
You must put it in writing that this one. I don't want them anywhere near. Yes.
You mean like
that? So
yes.
Simply put, a will is your wish put in writing so that people understand. And it's not important so much what type of will or anything, but that people appreciate that a will is your wish put in writing with a person that you trust very well, or a number of people in the event that something happens to that person, then so and so, and the people that you would want to inherit from that will.
Yeah.
Also, that it's very important that if you have children, we have children, make sure that you have put in place, you have stated who you would like to take care of your children.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't want your children to be taken care of by someone who you wouldn't have wanted to trust your children with, and simply because they have the largest voice at that meeting after your funeral.
Absolutely.
They get to take care of your children.
Absolutely.
It's very, very important
Yeah.
that is documented, and safely stored. It's also very, very important that your will is constantly updated, because we're living, right? You're alive, so you're constantly
changing.
Yes,
Life changes.
Life changes, and you amass more property, you get rid of that, you do this, you do that. And it's very important that you constantly update your will. It's very easy these days because obviously, like in the past, there would have been something drafted in writing, and then updating your will would have been very complicated. But now it's a document. If you have a trusted attorney, it's just an issue of you communicating with them. They just simply update and then simply file again. Yeah.
All right. So the will, after you write it, however way that you'd like it, how you'd like your estate to be, and how it can be passed down, is through a will.
Yes.
Now, who do we give the will to?
it
Where
will
can
be
we-
safely kept if your attorney can safely keep your will for you. Your bank can safely keep your will for you, and any other trusted space that can safely store away your will for you.
Yeah.
But what's important is that the people that you know will be there on that. Should it happen, know where to go.
Yes.
So your executor, as soon as you've passed on, it will have to go through a process. I won't use legal language, but a legal process to make sure that it is indeed confirmed by the state through due process that it is correct. So you will appreciate that the law does provide for people who haven't been able to write a will or do any other backup plan for their estate.
Yes.
And it would be the same or similar process. It must be verified through what is called probate. And that is just simply a legal process to confirm that it was a properly written will. Because you will appreciate human beings are human beings. It can happen that somebody can
Write it.
Yeah. You know,
So
it must go through legal process, and it must be confirmed as true and as authentic.
And there's a way that it's done.
Yes. So there's time that it has to go through, and then the executor that you will have identified and listed will then officially be given that platform to start identify your liabilities, make sure that taxes are paid, make sure that this is done. And then when all of that is done, make sure that your beneficiaries are allocated whatever it is in accordance to your will.
Yes.
And that whoever it is that you had appointed or had requested to be the custodian or of your children or your pets or whoever takes over accordingly. So that it's very, very important that your executor is somebody that you really, really know that you trust them to do as you had put.
Who would be the executors, the lawyers?
No.
Who would be the executors?
Whoever it is that you would have identified. Could be your sister, could be your best friend, could be anyone. Yeah, could be anyone.
Right.
At that point, it can be your lawyers, but at that point, your lawyers are just have done their part. They now hand it over, and then the will goes through the process. They can help with that process as well, but of course, it comes at a fee.
Yes,
and you can provide for it in your will. That fee is paid.
Yes,
by the way. Yeah.
Okay. Now let's be where now we didn't write a will.
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, no. I need to mention this that when you have written the will, you can do it by yourself. It doesn't necessarily have to involve a lawyer.
Yes.
You can actually just Google, check out write to will and write the will.
Yeah.
And this is now if you don't have a lawyer or you don't have the access to a lawyer or you can afford a lawyer, you can just write it down and once you've done that, you can actually go file it at the High Court.
Yes.
They can do that for you.
Very nominal
I think at 5 pula,
yes.
actually. So you can do that because the minute you die, the High Court then will check if there was a will.
The same process will.
Yes. That will be taken as well. Now that we've explained everything, I think it's because in our culture, we need to be very realistic in terms of us and our culture. Right now, I can imagine some of our...
It's a taboo topic.
It's a taboo topic. I'm sure some of our viewers now, they're thinking, this is a conversation I need to have with my parents. And
or my spouse.
Yes, or my spouse. And I'm going to get there, just like, I think we need to really stress the point that, how can we approach Batsadi on this one, especially Motsadi on the, spouse, I feel like maybe it would be better than, it would be easier than our parents who are just thinking, how do we think we can
I think as a topic, it's definitely one area that needs to be developed and that we all need to consciously work on. So I think it just starts with conversations. We should be having these conversations amongst ourselves, amongst our peers, with our siblings, even with our parents. And I think the best thing to do, as with any topic, is to bring up the pros as well as the cons. The importance of making sure that you have made a plan for what should happen in the event of anything the importance can't be stressed, right? And I think with parents, it's important that they understand that having a will or having a plan for that estate will relieve the family of a lot of stress. They don't have that burden. You can sit them down and explain to them, look, we wouldn't want to have the burden of deciding what you would have liked. liked,
Yeah.
or wondering what you would have liked. It's not so much that we want any particular outcome, but we just want to make sure that things happen the way you would have wanted to happen, whatever the case may be. It relieves a lot of stress. Actually, what people also don't know is that you can have it in your will, your funeral arrangements.
Yes.
You know?
But you want 5 people there?
Yes.
And want sandwiches?
Yes. Can we also not be cooking up a storm every single day? You know what I mean? And yes, and those are conversations that we should be having. That why should you not express your wish?
Absolutely.
And why can we not just avoid those conversations of arguing back and forth within the family that no, mama wouldn't have wanted this, how do you know she didn't want that? And I think if we have conversations about it without putting any pressure or stress on it, it can actually help them see that it's not so much about who apportioning the estate, but removing the stress from the family,
the burden
of having to make decisions on behalf of them that may not be the right, the best decisions that they would have wanted for themselves. So I think it's a very important. There's no right answer here.
There's no right answer here, but you can try. You can only try your best to try and communicate with whoever is involved. This is obviously your spouse and your family or your parents. I remember my mom. My mom she's very old school, but she was very clear about Quarter Days a Will. But she told us some of the things that she wants.
Yeah.
If she dies, this should happen. This, that, so that tomorrow we are not shocked. This is what mom wants. You know?
Yeah.
So there's some things they can even say really things, but they can also say out loud. So very important topic today. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. I really hope this was helpful for you guys at home. Remember, this is why we're having this conversation, is because we're trying to help you plan for your life, plan for your estate. These are things that we're not all equipped in knowing. We're busy building our lives. We're busy building our investments. Let's just protect them. Let's plan.
Let's do the right thing.
Yeah, let's do the right thing. Why not? Yeah? Bye for now, guys. I hope this was a good one. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.